Joinin, Nandagikandan Indigenous Animki Binzi Indigo. These words that I share with you, this language was spoken in these lands by my Anishinaabe ancestors, long before my Scottish and my French ancestors decided to come over. It is kind of from this perspective, this worldview, that many of my stories come from. We have our own prophecies, just like dominant culture has theirs. I'm sure some of you might be familiar with the story of the Tower of Babel. For those of you that aren't, it's basically a story of a Babylonian king who decided to build a tower to heaven. At one point, he decided to climb the tower. He shot the arrow at the sun in defiance. God smote the tower, destroying it, divided the languages, and the people kind of drifted off according to their languages. Nobody could communicate with each other, and the project was halted. Now we have a similar story about those things. Our story reads more of a parent with multiple children that aren't getting along. And when children aren't getting along, what do you usually do? You send them off to their own corner. Grandfather, our way of referring to the Creator, did just this. But with this punishment, he also gave a blessing. He gave them guardianships over things that he had created, and he sent them off in their own direction. Now that's a whole nother story that I'm not going to get into, but I'm using it to kind of show that we have been together at one point. Because of human nature, who we are, we couldn't get along and grandfather separated us. So this story is kind of talking about those divisions, talking about those differences. There was an elder, a medicine man, and he was working with his Skalbewis, his assistant, and they were out on a plateau. And as the elder was talking and teaching the youngster, for some reason he stopped his teachings. He stood up, struck his staff upon the ground, and as he struck his staff upon the ground, lightning struck the earth in 12 different places. In each place where the lightning had struck the earth, a small pebble was formed. After the elder had struck his staff, he began to sing an ancient chant. And as he began to sing this chant and continue singing it, these stones, these pebbles began to move. And as they moved, they gathered strength and they gathered size. They crossed over plains, they crossed over rivers, they crossed over oceans and mountains. And after a period of time, they gathered around the old man and his apprentice. The apprentice noticed what had happened, and he said, "Grandfather, all these stones have gathered around us. What do you want me to do with all these stones?" Grandfather looked at his young apprentice and he says, "Take these stones and fashion a medicine wheel." The apprentice quickly did as he was told. He gathered the stones, set them in the proper order for a medicine wheel, and went back to grandfather and said, "Grandfather, I have done as you have asked. I have built the medicine wheel. What should I do now?" Grandfather looked at his young apprentice. He looked at the circle. He said, "You've done a good job. Now I want you to go into the circle and find your place and sit upon that stone." Now this young Skalbewis, he'd been with this elder for a very long time. He had grown up in the community. He knew the creation stories. He knew the language. He knew the songs. He built drums. He was learning the medicine way. In his heart, he was a red man. So his choice was obvious. He went to sit on the red man's stone. But as he sat there, he noticed that the stone was getting hot. And after a while, it got so hot it repelled him. Now this kind of shook him to his core. His whole life, he had been raised an Indian. He knew the language, he knew the stories, he knew the medicines. He's got to be an Indian. Why did the red man's stone reject me? He was pretty flustered. He went to the elder, he says, "Grandfather, I tried to sit upon the red man's stone, but it got too hot. I couldn't stay there. It rejected me. What should I do?" I have an elder who has this mischievous grin when he's telling stories. And I see this elder, this medicine man, giving this young man that same mischievous grin as he said, "Find another stone." So the young man goes into the circle. He's traveling around the circle once, twice, 3, 4 times. He's not being drawn to any stone. Without that drawing, he relies on his intellect. Well, the red man's stone has rejected me. Surely I can't be a white man. I don't think I can be a yellow man. I guess it must be the black man's stone that I need to sit upon. So he goes and he sits upon the black man's stone. Once again, it gets hot and it repels him. He goes to his elder, he says, "Grandfather, black man's stone has rejected me too. What am I to do?" Once again, with that mischievous grin, grandfather said, "Find another stone." So he goes into the circle one more time. Can't be a white man. The only thing left is the yellow man's stone. So he goes on the yellow man's stone, and once again he's repelled. He's getting really frustrated. Can you imagine your whole identity, everything that you think you are, being challenged, and you're finding out it was a lie? He goes to grandfather. Red man's stone has rejected me. The black man's stone has rejected me. Even the yellow man's stone has rejected me. I can't be a white man. The white man's stone can't be my place. And he says, "Is that the only one left? Try it. See what happens." So the young man goes in a circle. He goes around it a couple more times. Again, he's not feeling drawn to the white man's stone, but it's the only one left. He goes and he tries to sit on it. He's immediately repelled. Right now, he doesn't know what to do. He grew up in the red man's ways. He knew the language, he knew the stories, but it repelled him. The black man's stone repelled him, the yellow man's stone repelled him. Even the white man's stone repelled him. "Grandfather, what am I to do? I have no place in the sacred hoop. Where do I belong?" Grandfather, feeling the young man's anguish, with compassion looked at his assistant. He says, "Maybe you're right. Maybe you don't have a place in this hoop. But then again, maybe all places are your place." You see, some people are born to be the connection between those points. I told you that story about the people being separated. The red nation was sent to the east. Yellow nation was sent to the south. Black nation was sent to the west. White nation was sent to the north. We were divided. But we have prophecies that say that at some point we come back together. We were given guardianship of things. Red Nation was given guardianship over Mother Earth. Most of the medicines that we rely on today come from the indigenous understanding of the botanical world. Yellow Nation was sent to the south. They were given guardianship of the air. From them, we got kites. Later on down the road, and kind of an early example of sharing culture, sharing understanding, gunpowder. That led to space travel. black nation was sent to the west. A lot of people don't know this, but the first pharaoh was a Nubian. He was a black man. A lot of people don't know this, but we owe our understanding of irrigation and water. That was their gift, the gift of water. Through them, we learned how to irrigate our fields. These guardianships have been brought forward into modern days. Our understanding of plasma and its usage comes from African American doctors. The technology that allowed Dr. Jarvik to build the first mechanical heart came from African American doctors. White nation was sent to the north. They were given the guardianship of fire. From them, we had the Industrial Revolution, internal combustion motor, airplanes, space travel. Now in these modern days, we have periods, things kind of ebb and flow. There was a lot of interest with native culture when Dances with Wolves come out. After 9/11, things kind of quieted down, not so much interest. But within our communities, there has been a resurgence. And a lot of the young people are looking at these old stories and they're wondering, okay, it's pretty clear that this is the place where it all comes together. White nation is here, black nation is here, yellow nation is here, red nation has always been here. So it's pretty clear this is where it all comes back together. Who dropped the ball? Who didn't do their part? The elders know what the young ones are trying to do. They're trying to point that finger of blame. But when you do that, you've got 3 more fingers pointing back at you. The elders tell the youngsters, yes, we all dropped the ball. Even we prostituted our gifts, overhunted the beaver, almost put him to extinction. Okay? So we all have a portion of the blame. Now, when he was talking to his young Skalbewis, he was kind of reminding him of all these things. Okay? And then he said that you are not alone in this feeling and in this understanding. There are many more like you. They don't exactly fit here. They don't exactly fit here. But they have a working knowledge of both places. And they can communicate between the two and bring us back together in the land where it all comes back together, Turtle Island. Now when I say Turtle Island, that is a native reference to the North American continent. That includes Canada, Alaska, the United States, and even Mexico. So when we talk about this place called Turtle Island, this is where all those divisions come back together. What's going on now? Obviously, we're in a very tumultuous time. A lot of things to be angry about, on all sides. But when you talk to the elders about it, they say that this is part of the process of relearning how to communicate. All of us have been in our own corners for so long, we got used to our own way of thinking. We got to the point where we thought our way is all what, right? Everybody else is all wet. But in reality, we have the pieces of the puzzles that we can handle, that we can understand. No one person can know and understand all things, but we each have a place in the sacred hoop. For those of us that don't fit in one category or the other, we are like gatekeepers, or as I say, stone hoppers. We hop from stone to stone, helping to bring understanding, alleviate misinformation, misinterpretation. I kind of summarize my experience as rather eclectic. I'm a child of adoption. I found my family as an adult. I found these traditions as an adult. In many ways, I'm still playing catch up. But I've taken all these things that I have learned and I've condensed it down to this. We belong. We belong together. And each and every one of us are priests and teachers. The way we conduct our ministries determines not only the quality of our life, but the impact we have on the world around us, our family and friends, and most importantly, the legacy we leave behind for the next 7 generations. In my language, there's one word that was introduced to me as the most beautiful word in the Anishinaabe language. It is miigwech. That can mean anything from a simple thank you or the most heartfelt, deep appreciation and gratitude. And with that later meaning, I say miigwech for listening to me and sharing my story. Miigwech.